Who is the real villain in Blood Hunt? You're not Blade, are you? No, I am something much greater, and I will become greater still, Black Panther. This has always been the plan. Do you see? This has always been the work. Thousand upon thousands of years ago, what was begun with a crime against the universe will see completion here and now. And when I was born for the second time in a stone sarcophagus, drowned in blood, what are you? The first Black Panther, the first vampire, my nomad spirit clothed in my faded vessel, the daywalker skin. I am Varnae, quote, Black Panther, and Blade, Eric Brooks, possessed by Varnae, identity revealed. The darkness continues, led by Blade. A group of vampires use the dark force to blot out the sun, creating an eternal night and unleashing violence upon the world. Blade and the Bloodcoven, a group of superpowered vampires, also launched an attack on the Avengers, capturing several members of the team, transforming the Black Panther into a vampire and seizing control of the Impossible City, the Avengers' orbital headquarters. His physical self struck down by Blade and infected with vampirism, Doctor Strange's astral form and Clea departed for Latveria, seeking help, with Hunter's Moon and Tigra left for Asgard to execute their plan to defeat Blade. Blade then translocated the ancient Atlantean Temple of the First Blasphemy from its undersea resting place in Wakanda to the middle of Central Park. Blood Hunt, Volume 1, Issue 4. Dr. Doom says the Temple of the First Blasphemy in New York City. It would appear that things are going very badly indeed. The Avengers are broken. The Sorcerer Supreme is apparition. And New York City now has an ancient Atlantean temple as part of its skyline. I suppose things must be going very badly. This fortress is called the Temple of First Blasphemy and was previously located in Atlantis. Blade and his Bloodcoven transport the temple to New York City, from which they will control the many legions of vampires spread all over the globe. Among those vampires are some of the Marvel's greatest superheroes, including Black Panther. Blade and his Bloodcoven established the Temple of First Blasphemy in New York City, unleashing vampires upon the earth, including Marvel heroes. The temple is a dark reflection of the Avengers Tower, symbolizing doom and eternal fear, a monument of the vampire's greatest victory. Blade and his Bloodcoven have secured a fortress that they've erected in the heart of New York City, forever altering the iconic skyline in the darkest way possible. The Avengers Tower stood as a reminder to the citizens of New York City, and indeed the planet, that the world was under the protection of the Earth's mightiest heroes. Anytime someone glanced at the building from the street or saw it along the New York City skyline from afar, they knew they were safe. While the building itself was just a building, one from which the Avengers rarely even operated, it stood as a pillar of hope for the entire planet. Everything that is good about the Avengers Tower and what it represents in the world is exactly why the Temple of the First Blasphemy is the exact opposite. If the temple is a pillar of anything, it's one of doom. It stands as a grim reminder that the inhabitants of the planet Earth will never see the sun again and are destined to live the rest of their lives as vampires' prey, lives of the perpetual fear and violence. As we go to Latveria, we see Doctor Strange and Clea seeking aid from Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom's country is protected by magic, and he himself is a master of magic. He also knows something that Doctor Strange does not: who the real villain is and who is using Blade as a vessel. Doctor Doom revels in the fact that Doctor Strange is asking for help. We go back to the Temple of First Blasphemy. Blade says, "Finally, do you have any idea how long it's been since I walked these stones, T'Challa? When we first built it, you should have seen it." Black Panther responds, "You're not Blade, are you?" Blade replies, "No, I am something much greater, and I will become greater still." The vessel, using Blade's body, says, "This has always been the plan. Do you see? This has always been the work of thousands upon thousands of years. What was begun with a crime against the universe will see completion here and now. When I was born for the second time in the stone sarcophagus, drowned in blood." Black Panther screams out, "What are you? The First Black Panther, the first vampire, the nomad spirit closed all my fated vessels. The daywalkers feared. I am Varnae. It is Varnae who has been puppeteering Blade. The history of Varnae. Varnae was a sorcerer in ancient Atlantis. His mates in the Dark Holders cult used the Dark Hold to turn him into Earth's first vampire. Varnae killed the cultists when they tried to use him against King Kull and became Vampire Lord. Atlantis sinking was not the end for Varnae. He entered hibernation for thousands of years. The Vampire Lord awoke in the Hyperion Age and fought the likes of Conan the Barbarian, Red Sonja, and Zula until the later's magic forced him to retreat. Millennia later in ancient Samaria, the sorceress Amshad helped Varnae craft a magic spell that could greatly enhance vampiric powers. However, Amshad tricked Varnae, ensuring that the spell could only be cast every 2,000 years on vampires' home soil, a soil long since gone in Varnae's case. The Lord of the Vampires used his powers to raise Atlantis from the ocean as the Christian era began, but again, Ashmed fooled his plans. In the modern era, at the centuries past, Varnae grew tired and seared Dracula, Vlad Tepes, as the new Lord of the Vampires after making him fight Nimrod to test him. Varnae then committed suicide by walking into the dawn. Skip to our days, voodoo priestess Marie Laveau needed vampiric blood to concoct a draught of the potion that suspended her aging. Thus, she used the Darkhold book to counter Doctor Strange's Montesi formula, which had been destroyed every vampire on Earth and prevented their future creation, and resurrected the Lord of the Vampires. However, while she expected Dracula, it was Varnae who returned. Dr. Doom talks about Varnae and says it's obvious if you merely think about it. Some years ago, his minion, Marie Laveau, prepared Blade as the host for the spirit of Varnae. Apparently, the Daywalker's unique constitution made him the ideal vessel. This happened in Blade, the Vampire Hunter 5. Dr. Doom continues. That attempt failed, but it would appear that a second did not. I have taken precaution to protect my people and the borders. Now, what can I help you with, Stefan? Dr. Strange and Clea have come to ask Dr. Strange's help to bring back the sun. If there's any hope of victory, the sun must return, and they seek aid with the Dark Force. Dr. Doom says, I have precautions for the Dark Forces as well. It was only a matter of time. People have trifled with the Dark Fourth Dimension for far too long and far too lightly for someone like this to even remotely surprising. Dr. Doom then says a great assembly of mages is needed, beginning with Clea and Strange, a grand array of magical creatures brought together as one. When Dr. Strange offers to bring these magicians together, Dr. Doom says no need. From the pages of Blood Hunt, Strange Academy issue 2, Dr. Strange has brought the Academy kids to assemble magicians and mages. Dr. Doom says, I've already taken the liberty of recruiting the student body of Strange Academy. Now, Stefan, give it to me and let us begin. Dr. Strange question, give you what? I don't follow, Victor. Dr. Doom replies, I should think you would understand this is an extraordinary work of magic we are speaking of casting here, and to extend it, I must be the Sorcerer Supreme. Dr. Doom wants the eye of Agamotto. We then transition over to Asgard, where Tigra, Hunter's Moon, and a mysterious figure are sneaking through the hallways. The unseen mystery man asks, don't the hero types usually ask nicely when they won something? Tigra responds, yes, but according to Avengers, Thor is currently down. We can't afford to ask nicely because the Asgardians might say no, and we don't have time to convince them. Tigra, Hunter's Moon, and a mystery man reach a massive vault. Hunter's Moon states that all pressure eventually collapses even for gods, and this is no different. He then greets his father, Khonshu, who has been imprisoned in the Asgard since attempting to take over the world in the 2018 Avengers storyline. Khonshu says, my loving son, so kind to visit your father, but foolish I fear. I have no power to lend you in my opening my cell, and you have no key for these locks. Hunter Moon replies, you are correct, father. I have no power to open this door and no key. They are in an Asgardian prison to break out Khonshu. Hunter Moon brought someone much better. He brought the Wrecker. Hunter Moon says, what better tool to open an Asgardian prison than an Asgardian crowbar, as the Wrecker gets to work on the prison door. We jump back to the temple of the first first blasphemy, where Varnae is speaking to T'Challa. Varnae recounts his time in ancient Atlantis, where he transcribed the Darkhold, putting its bleak words to paper for the first time. It was there he took his first steps towards becoming what he wanted to be. Now, with the living Darkhold, the blood of a god, and a place of power in his possession, he is ready to complete his ritual. Creating the concept of the vampire was only the first step in his ritual. The vampire was only a pupil form. Varnae says, no, I was destined for something more. I was destined to be the end of all things. As Varnae drinks, the temple of the first blasphemy lights up. Varnae finally continues, come, I am ready. Come to me, dark force. Do you see? Do you see? I become one with the darkness, an entire dimension of darkness. I am the dark that consumes light, the cold that consumes warmth. I am a vampire that consumes entire planets, entire stars. I am becoming the unliving dark force. Varnae is not only looking to kill all of Earth, but the entire universe as well. Just as the power starts to flow through him, T'Challa points out a gigantic sphere of white light in the sky, a sphere of light that shouldn't be there. Everyone looks on in confusion. Varnae says, it can't be. In the middle of the night, in the darkness light, that is what I am. That is what I have always been. In the darkness, no matter where they may find themselves in the world, travelers by night see the face of Khonshu, and they know they are not alone. My dead rise from the slumber, led to battle across the world, hands filled with the silver of my armories, warriors with no fear, no blood, no mercy. From these portals come moon knights. These moon knights are led by Khonshu's resurrected son, Mark Spector. Moon Knight. As Mark Spector, Moon Knight, emerges from the portal, he is followed by other Moon Knights ready to bring the battle to the vampires. Varnae is not happy with the Moon Knights, but he thinks it's too late for them to do any good. Due to the heart-shaped herb in Blood Hunt, Black Panther, Varnae does not have 100% control over him. As Black Panther jumps to stab Blade, he is stopped by Varnae with dark magic. Varnae says, oh, Panther, defiance, impossible. Your blood is my own. Tell me how. Black Panther says, do you think Wakanda has never fought vampires? That's our gods have abandoned us? The heart-shaped herb was fighting my infection, healing me bit by bit. Varnae scoffs, ha, no matter. Far too little and widely too late. Do you really think you can kill me with this little blade? Black Panther responds, not really, no. I was just removing it so that the Thor might join us. Thor says, insult and injury I have suffered, and Thor will have his vengeance. Black Panther has removed the spike from Thor, thus releasing him for battle. Thor regains his composure, lightning and electricity starting to flow around him as a familiar voice sounds from the sky. It is Iron Man's voice, and he says, which is just a fancy talk for avenging. As Thor regenerates, he is joined by Captain America, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Vision, and an injured Black Panther as they prepare to take on Varnae. Varnae says, come then. Come and face the unliving dark force. So begins the battle between the Bloodcoven and Varnae versus the Avengers. Next, Blood Hunt, Volume 1, Issue 5.